Welcome to the Manuchehri podcast. Over the last 30 years, it has been my joy to assist humanity in aligning with their magnificence so they may heal, discover their natural gifts, and communicate with loved ones living on the other side. May you also experience delight while we dance in the powerful, intuitive world of energy. Let's get going. Hello, everyone. I'm Manuchehri. Welcome to my podcast. Before we go off to our beautiful voicemails that people leave on my website, energyintuitive.com, I want to talk about an important topic. We have so much going on astrologically. We just finished two major eclipses, one March 25th and one April 8th, if I'm not mistaken. And then we just had this phenomenal exchange of hugs and kisses in the sky between Jupiter and Uranus yesterday, the planet of expansion and great fortune. Jupiter along with Uranus, which is just the big planet of surprise and really amazing planet of shift in consciousness, in my opinion. That's going to be affecting us for quite a while. That event occurs approximately every 14 years. So the last time that happened was 2010. So you might want to check your calendar, see what was cool and interesting that was happening in your life at that time. Because it doesn't always happen exactly on the date, but I think that it kind of starts, if it doesn't happen on that day, starts a beautiful explosion of good luck and fortune in some area of your chart that's going to positively affect your life. So in saying all of that we have this amazing consciousness going on. We have this really beautiful, significant eclipses. We're still in that energy, of course. And then this lovely conjunction that happened yesterday on April 20th, 2024. I wanted to talk about the topic of victim consciousness. I know that seems like, we were talking about great things and now we're going to lower our vibration and talk about this kind of sticky, wacky, weird, but it makes so much sense that we're having these issues. This is all the logic about it. But I thought because we're in this really delicious, expansive energy, we could talk about victim consciousness so that we can choose different patterns when we start to step into that energy. Victim consciousness could even be looked at as kind of constantly complaining about something, because we don't like the way it is. So we feel a little victimized by it and we're annoyed by it. But unfortunately, that type of energy just perpetuates more of the victimization. And of course, the topic could be extremely serious where someone's having really uncomfortable and challenging experiences in their life. And everyone has every right to feel victimized about anything, truly. But unfortunately, it doesn't get us to the finish line. It kind of keeps perpetuating negative outcomes and problems and situations. And no matter how positive a person is, most people have something in their life that they feel victimized by, that it just doesn't turn out. It doesn't go their way. It's like they're tripping over their feet on this particular topic, no matter what, no matter how hard they work on it. So if we can change the vibration, if we can get out of feeling like we're a victim or the world's against us or it's never going to work out or my spirit guides must be on vacation or whatever it is that the person feels is happening in their life on a particular topic. And some people, of course, feel victimized on multiple topics in their life. And that makes their life incredibly hard and very difficult. And people who are really entrenched in victim consciousness would hate this conversation. They would be very annoyed and super uncomfortable and mad and frustrated. How could you say that? Look what they did to me. And again, people have every right to feel disappointed or unhappy or that someone wasn't good to them or betrayed them. But if you stay in that energy, you're just going to keep creating the same type of experiences with different people, different players, different situations, different circumstances, but the same outcome. So since the energy is in this very profound, positive, high frequency, Jupiter is on fire right now in a good way. Why don't we take this time to catch those moments where we're like, feeling that the world in this one area of our life is just going to keep peeing on us. And we can't seem to figure out how to stop the flow of the urine in that part of our life. I know one area, and it's not a serious area in my life. I have serious areas like everyone else, but my cats one of them in particular, sometimes but rarely will eat downstairs. So I have to take the food upstairs. And sometimes he will eat on the stairs, or he'll come down and eat with everyone else, meaning, his brother and Charles, the dog. But he's just kind of ornery and annoying. And, so have the food all ready. But the last thing I want to do is take stinky, wet cat food up 2 flights of stairs and down a long hallway while he's hiding behind a chair and find some place for him to eat it so that his brother won't eat it when he comes up later. It's like, but I notice that I feel victimized by it. Like, oh, how dare he? And he should be like, so happy I'm feeding him this beautiful food. And why is he doing this? So this week in particular, I've been catching myself to have fun walking up those stairs. So I get a little bit more exercise, and he's an interesting creature. This cat, his name's Huckleberry. He's his own unique person. And the funny thing is, he's made it clear that the dog is not his favorite person. But then later on in the evening, when I'm laying on the couch and Charles is on the couch, there's Huckleberry right in between us. So he's kind of finicky and unique. He wants to stay unique. So even though that was a very simplistic example, I think we can all look at a lot of areas of our life that we complain about and we're annoyed. And that annoyance, frustration, energy, even though, okay, I have every right to be annoyed that I have to carry stinky cat food. It actually doesn't smell bad, but it's just annoying. Up all these flights of stairs to feed him separately when everybody else is down there at feeding time, waiting for their food. I don't have to go into that place of feeling annoyed, because that is a victim consciousness kind of energy. And when we do that, and sometimes we do this a lot, you probably have identified days where you've done it all day long, like, oh, you have to put gas in your car, and then, oh my gosh, I need to take the car through the car wash, and I need some more cash, or all these little errands that you have to do. I'm just using that as an example that may make you feel annoyed or irritated. And then you go to work and someone's taking your parking spot maybe, and get into the office and your boss needs to talk about you, something bad, but it's just another kind of irritation. I think we can look for ways to stop the pattern, because it's a human consciousness pattern to be annoyed by all of these things. Spirit likes things to be playful and silly, and for us to find the silliness in our whole entire life. That's really what we're supposed to be doing, is finding the joy and the silliness. And that helps us to gain the knowledge that we need in order to not feel annoyed and frustrated, victimized by a situation. So perhaps over the next several months, you could cultivate a practice where you catch yourself before you really go down the rabbit hole and end up spending an entire day in low vibration, which is going to affect your future. It's going to affect that day, but it's going to affect something in the future for you. That you could catch yourself and skip up the stairs with the cat food, or don't take it upstairs and let the cat go hungry for a couple of days until it remembers to come downstairs. Have fun with it. Have fun with life. Try not to take things too seriously. And if you have something really significant in your life, can you, for even just a moment, find the beauty in it? Because there's beauty in everything. In everything. There are some tarot readers who do not read the card reversed. I'm definitely one of those. I don't read the card reversed. Even when I'm reading about spiritual animals, I don't listen to the negative aspect. You and I already live in a pretty low vibration, negative reality. A lot of people are pretty negative on Earth. A lot of people. And there's a lot of events that are happening that are not of high frequency and vibration. So we don't need to be reminded of those things. So when you're reading about the characteristics of a spiritual animal or totem, or you're looking at tarot cards or angel cards or something of that nature, do your very best to only focus on the positive aspect of those divinities, because that's what you need. You don't need the negative. You already have enough negative in your body. There's already enough negativity going on in the world. You need the positive. And if for some reason there is something that you're supposed to pay attention to that we would consider somewhat negative, you will have a better awareness and consciousness of it if your vibration is elevated. So let's say you saw a really cool animal and you looked it up in this spirit, the Animal Speak or Animal Talk book, whichever one it is. Ted Andrews, I believe is his name. I'm sure everyone will look it up and post it. If you're on watching this on YouTube, they'll post down the actual correct author's name. And you read, some negative characteristics about that particular spirit animal. Pass that over. Focus on the positive. That's what the universe is trying to communicate to you. The universe, remember, only communicates in positive frequency and vibration, even if it's trying to get you to drive a different way home or go meet new people. In other words, they're trying to help you to have higher vibrational individuals in your life, or they want you to go on a vacation without a bunch of your friends. They're not going to say anything negative to you. They're going to say things in loving, kind, high vibrational ways, because that's really how we can approach everything in life, is through this high vibration. Just like I'm going to be skipping up the stairs for the next several months to retrain my mind and not be annoyed that I feel like I'm being taken advantage of by these creatures that I have devoted my life to. That's kind of how I feel about it. But that's a form of victim consciousness. Just that frequency that I just described, that is a form of victim consciousness. Now, granted, it's not a tragic moment in my life, but it is still the flavor of victim consciousness. And if we keep adding throughout our day these moments of, this is, we're just going to keep creating low vibrational experiences and not really get to have the sweet, precious things that the universe wants for us. So believe it or not, you can get everything you need to learn from the tarot card, only focused on the positive. So that means if you're placing tarot cards out and there's some that are upside down, turn them around. Don't even look at them upside down. Do not read the upside down caption. If you're looking at angel cards, the same thing applies. If you're looking at spiritual animal totems, do not look at the negativity. That is not what the universe is trying to tell you, because you've already thought about the negativity. Immediately, you already thought about it. If you've ever looked at tarot cards before, if you've read anything about some of the spirit animals, you already know what those are. Humans are great at highly focused on negativity. We want to change all that. We want to change our frequency and our vibration and start focusing on the positive. So why don't we all make an agreement that we're going to be on a 3-month training. Why don't we're starting it now, which is like the 21st of April. So we've got, through July, maybe. Yeah, something like that. I'm sure someone can write that down in the comments too, when it will be exactly the end of 3 months. But the 3 months is to train us so that we will choose to be in a high frequency, high vibration, minus and reduce these low vibrational responses that actually do affect us, our energy and our lives, our future. And we want our futures to be bright and shiny and happy and very well connected in high frequency, because then we will attract the solutions, all the solutions that are in our highest good. So that when something really weird happens in our life, like uncomfortable, that we don't want to have happen, then because we have not been dropping our energy, and maybe only great things will happen. But if something weird happens to us, we can raise our vibration very high and get the highest vibrational solutions in the most challenging moments of our lives. That's one of the perks of keeping one's energy up and using one's intuition, is that life in general is a million times better. And then when life gets weird, if it does, the solutions can come very quickly and be resolved with very little difficulty. In other words, even if something we can't change, let's say if, someone we love is deciding to transition to the other side, we can't change that. We can't stop that. When someone's going to leave their body, they're going to leave their body. But if your energy is really elevated, you're going to hear beautiful things about it. You're going to feel beautiful things about it. You're going to see beautiful things about it. You're going to have a knowingness that you wouldn't normally have, because your energy is so low. And then it gets even lower when life gets kind of challenging, when what you need more than anything is to hear the divine and to hear them remind you of how magical you are and how precious you are, and that everything is on track. Nothing's wrong. It just might be a little bit different. Okay, I'm going to go now to our phone lines, which are really voicemails, and start listening to people's questions.
Hi, Marie. My name is Victoria, and I have a question for you. What does the universe has for me in terms of finding my life love mate? Is there any things I'm doing wrong, or is there things I'm doing right? I just discovered you several weeks ago on YouTube, and I really got drawn to your energy and to your vibrance, and I really wanted to know more about you. And I found your wonderful website and this opportunity to send a voice note. Thank you so much for that.
Sure, Victoria. So you're going to have to get happy about even being single. You're going to have to love your life exactly the way it is, more so than even looking for a partner. Being in the present moment is a very productive energy. And when there's something we want in our life and we're kind of, desiring it and then missing it and wishing it were here and almost a little obsessing about it, that's a low vibrational experience. So it's very difficult to manifest and create when we're having these dual energies where, maybe you're not super happy being single and you're not super happy because you haven't found a partner. Both of those are low frequencies. So if you can get happy about the way your life is right now, that's going to raise your vibration. And then when you are manifesting anything, but in this case, a partnership, feeling that you already have this partnership as if it's already here is how we manifest. You don't have to know who this person is, when they're coming. Those logical things are unnecessary to focus on in order to manifest. You just simply have to feel that you already have that experience. And then voila, then you can manifest it. I hope that's helpful.
Hi Marie, this is Jeanette from Corning, New York. Next Level Soul is where I came across your wonderfulness. My question, can you or your guides please express to me whatever is in my highest good, information concerning my strongest intuitive gift or talent, so that I may grow it more to support the collective, and if there is any aura energy work I need to do to strengthen my energy field. Thank you very, very much.
Hi, Jeanette. You have a very strong, clear clairsentient. I mean, you can feel things. You do spend a lot of time in your mind, which will take away from that experience. Resting in the lower half of the body is what I always recommend, no matter what one's doing, no matter what's going on. Feeling, physically sensing the lower half of your body, like your glute muscles when you're sitting, or your feet when you have your shoes on, or wiggling your toes when you don't have your shoes on. Anything to get your attention to the lower half of your body will help significantly. And if you could expand your auric field, 3 city blocks, you keep it at about 9 feet, which is a little bit bigger than the majority of the population. They keep their auric field at around 7 feet. However, it becomes a much better tool, especially in the multisensory world, but in every other way, if you expand it 3 city blocks. So you could literally just creatively imagine that. A lot of people don't understand that your energy is your energy, right? Everyone's energy is their own, and they can use it any way they want to. And one of the ways to use one's energy is through creative visualization, because the energy responds to your expression, to your demand. But most people don't even consciously communicate to their energy system, which is highly recommended. So if you could even imagine that it's extending 3 city blocks in every direction, above you, below you, in front of you, behind you, and all sides of you, then it will. It will. It's your energy, so it'll do what you ask it to do. Okay, that's what I'm recommending. Thank you.
Hello, Marie. This is Marcia from Massachusetts. Thank you for this opportunity. A couple of months ago, while I was out on a walk, a parakeet flew down in front of me onto the sidewalk. It just stopped and it stared at me before going into the grass, and I just stopped in my track thinking, why is this parakeet outside? And then I just continued my walk. Well, for the next 3 days, I would see this parakeet either in the tree or the bush or the sidewalk, It'd be chirping and, staring at me as I walked by. And then after that, I didn't see it anymore. And so I was wondering, was there a message in this for me? I was curious about that. Also, I would like to ask if you could see any spiritual gifts that I might have and what I should hone in on. Thank you.
Well, hopefully this parakeet was not lost, because they're not supposed to be living outside in climates that can be cold. I have some family members that lost their beautiful parrot for a while, but luckily they found it, and they live in Florida. So, some birds aren't really supposed to be hanging outside. But whenever we come into contact with an animal, a bird or a frog, coyote, whatever, you can just ask them. They are showing up, even if they're asking for help themselves, because sometimes they're asking for help. They're looking for humans who will help them, and you're highly empathetic, so you're the type of person who would. They will also have information for you, especially birds, but all animals, because birds fly so close to God. They can fly really high. I think the bird may have been a little lost, honestly. That's what I think. But it was trying to tell you that you're not lost, because you tend to think you are lost. You tend to get in that negative energy about, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what's happening. And that is a little bit of that victim consciousness that I was talking about. You're also very clairsentient as well. You feel a lot. I also think you have a strong gift of clairvoyance. And really, in truth, everybody, has a lot of intuitive gifts and different intuitive gifts, meaning like we don't just have one. But if people don't practice them or utilize them, then they don't develop. They just kind of stay there. Like any other gift we would have, if we want to become an athlete, then we have to do the sport, whatever it is, in order to excel at it and to utilize it at a high vibration. If someone wants to be creative, they actually have to do art or play a piano or write books or whatever it is that they want to excel at in terms of their creativity. So that's really the problem we have with the human race. Not everyone believes in intuition, but more so than ever have before on the planet. And then those people who do, but feel annoyed or frustrated or don't feel like they can move forward in it, they don't practice it. They don't even try. And then they wonder why it doesn't work. I mean, professional intuitives, we really worked on it when our gifts became apparent to us. We didn't just sit by and wait for the universe to, yell and scream at us. We definitely practiced a lot. So the clairsentient part, and you're a little bit different than the last person I left a message for in terms of clairsentient, means that you can feel a lot. In your case, you need to spend more time in your physical body. You tend to send your energy out of your physical form out of fear, which is common for clairsentients. They kind of leak their energy out of their body because they, at an early age, maybe had too much chaos in their life, in their childhood. And so they send their energy out to feel the environment around them to protect them. But protection is, in my opinion, a huge waste of time and energy. So clairsentients need to really stay in their body because everything is interpreted through inside our physical form. It's really not interpreted through reaching outside of us. So if you can keep your energy inside of you and get out of your head as well, then you're going to be able to sense more of those intuitive gifts that you have. Okay, those are my thoughts.
Hello, Mary. I'm Timea from Bethesda, Maryland. I'm delighted to be here and I love your energy. So over almost 5 decades, I have carried a sense that there is something special within me waiting to unfold, quote unquote special. Now, at this juncture of my life, there is a newfound excitement and doubt at the same time about embracing the unfolding of my being and allowing my light to shine brightly. Now, however, I have not been able to pinpoint my special skill or skills and potentially turning them into a vocation. Currently, I'm in a digital marketing world and I'm not certain if that is my lifelong calling. Wink, wink. So I'm curious about if you have any insights about my special skill or skills that will ultimately bring me joy and others, and the associated next steps on this journey. So thank you for considering this, and my deepest gratitude for any guidance you may be able to offer. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, if people aren't loving their job, then that's not it. I had to go and see a friend in the hospital last week, and I just had so much fun driving there, parking, getting out of the car, just seeing the staff members. I loved every minute of it. I even saw a person I went to nursing school with that was working in the hospital. So it's not hard to figure out if what one's doing is one's vocation or not. It's not complicated. And the majority of the people on the planet, the answer is absolutely no. They are not doing what is in their best interest. And they haven't been. And I think collectively, we've just gotten in this pattern. Well, I just have to do this to make money. But what people don't understand is that when you do things that bring you joy, you will create wealth, or somehow it will come into your life. Like, that's just how it works. But it has to be authentically joyful, has to feed you. You have to feel energized by it. So no, the digital world is not your calling. You're very clairvoyant. You have a lot of visual, clairvoyant abilities. What I would love for you to do, and this is for everyone, I would love for you to figure out what makes you happy in the multisensory world. And that means you kind of have to try it out, or look at it, or read about it. You have to like feel it within your own body, not from your head. Moving forward in one's life, whether that's romantically, physically for our health, spiritually, vocation wise, love wise, creating a healthy family, all of that has to come from an intuitive perspective, not a logical perspective. The only logic we need is really, if you're, buying a new house, that you're signing all the right documents, and dating them correctly. But even picking out a perfect home and finding the right lender comes from intuition. Just like if someone's getting married and it's in their best interest to be in that relationship with that person, they just need their logic to sign the marriage certificate. Finding a partner is an extremely intuitive experience. So finding one's vocation, that sings to them, that brings them great joy, is also a highly intuitive experience. You cannot figure it out logically. It will never, ever, ever make sense, ever. So people have to start feeling what they feel in their body while they're checking something out, while they're experiencing something, while they're reading about something, while they're watching something. And when you feel your energy rise, like, just like yesterday or whatever it was a few days ago, when I had to go to the hospital, and I had to be there really early in the morning. I didn't even care. I couldn't even sleep at night. I was so excited, I was so excited because it's something that brings me great joy. So logically, that's not even going to make sense. It doesn't even make sense to me that the hospital is something that brings me joy. It just happens to be the truth. And it also happens to be where my psychic abilities opened up while working on the oncology floor in the hospital. So if people could do that, if you could do that, that would be amazing. Start following your joy. And then you're going to feel something. You're going to feel something in your body expand. And maybe that's part of the problem. Enough people don't feel joy. So they don't know what it feels like. They don't know how to maintain it in their life. They don't know how to allow it to expand. So they don't recognize it when something is excellent and in their path. But pretty much most people don't even walk close to their path. People walk far away from their path because there's also a fear of one's magnificence. A lot of people are terrified of their magnificence. So they walk in directions where they're not going to experience their magnificence. So make a list of all the multisensory things that make you happy or excited. Read books, watch videos, pay attention to your energy. When does it spike high? And I mean, when energy is at a high frequency, there is a calmness to it. There's a compassionate energy to it. There's also a surprise to it, like, wow, look how high my energy is. Whoa, that feels amazing. And then I would follow that. I would start to practice those skills or take classes on that subject or read more books about it. And another beautiful thing that everyone can do easily is start speaking to yourself positively. In the very beginning of my practice, as someone was coming to my home, because I used to see people, in person for many years, I would say to myself, you're an amazing healer. I'm so proud of you. Good job, honey. I would give myself a pep talk. So humans are not good at this. We're great at throwing ourselves under the bus or telling ourselves that we're not good enough or that we'll never measure up or there's something wrong with us. And when you say lovely things to yourself about yourself, you're speaking to the universe and your higher self, and you're pulling down gifts and remedies of consciousness that are in alignment with those words. So that's what I recommend. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Holly, and I'm from the East Coast. I've been learning from your podcast for the past several months and from your book, Intuitive Self-Healing, as well. Thank you so much for sharing your gifts. I just found out this morning that I am pregnant after a loss last year. I've also had a difficult health journey for most of my life, which may or may not be connected. My question, though, is how can I best support my family? I'm searching for something fulfilling that also allows us all to thrive, and I would really love any insight or guidance. Thank you so much for everything that you do. Sending you so much love. Thank you.
Thank you, Holly, and congratulations. I hope everything's going great in the baby pregnancy area of your life. Kind of the same answer that I just gave to our last caller. And so you weren't too direct about the question, but I think you meant how to support your family financially, is what I think that you meant. Of course, you are pregnant right now, and that means you're growing a human being in your body. So this may not be the best time to really be investigating career paths if indeed I'm interpreting your question accurately. My overall sense is that you don't get enough support in this family anyway. So that would be, I think, a healthy and necessary conversation. But remember, you're growing a human being. That takes a lot of energy, time, rest. It's a very powerful moment in one's life, and it's quite lovely, but you're already creating something. So I would much rather have you take care of yourself right now, rest, especially since you had a history of health issues, which you're right, may or may not be related to the challenges that you've had maybe with fertility. But I just kind of want you to take care of yourself right now. I want you to rest. I want you to eat really well, take your vitamins, get excited about the baby, decorate the nursery if you haven't already. That's where I want you to put your energy. And then after this baby, comes into the world and you get energized again, which could also take a while, having kids is a lot. It's a lot of work. Because remember, you're growing a human. I think we need to get rid of the word pregnant because it's such a common word that we're not really describing what's happening. An adult, hopefully, human is growing another human that will be adult inside their body. It's like there's a lot going on in there. And I don't think we emphasize enough what is happening to the body of a person who's growing another human. We just don't talk about it enough. We act like it's like no big deal. It's huge. It's huge. I've grown through 3 of them in my body, and I wished I had thought of it that way. For sure. I wish I had. So that's what I'm recommending. And while you're resting and taking good care of yourself, why don't you just start saying, what if I have the most amazing career path that fulfills every desire that I have, and I'm 1000% fulfilled? Start using what if questions when you're resting, taking naps, taking good care of yourself, putting your legs up, eating good food, resting, because you're working really hard right now. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Sal. I want to thank you for being a very good soul and a very good person. I had seen you on Next Level Soul and was extremely impressed. I recently lost my father on Christmas Day early in the morning, and my wife had an encounter at about 4 in the morning, which is about an hour and a half before he passed.
Wow.
She was up wrapping Christmas presents, and the dog gate that prevents the dog from running upstairs was shaking violently. She went to see the gate and had put her hand on it to stop shaking. She thought we were having an earthquake, and the gate stopped. And then when her hand was released from the gate, it's continued shaking, and she just left it alone until it stopped. At about the same time, my cousins in Italy had heard keys that were on the wall shake in a room that was occupied by no one. And my aunt, my father's sister, heard my father's distinctive whistle that he would sing before arriving at her home. So my question is, when a family member departs, is that my father reaching out? Is it a spirit guide? Now, since my father's death, I wake up every morning at 4 a.m.
Wow.
and it's been almost a week and a half.
Wow.
So just wanted to ask to see what's going on. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Sal. Thanks for telling all of us this really beautiful story. It made me so happy. Like it's going to make my entire evening, because I'm recording this on Sunday, April 21st, Pacific time, and 5:30 p.m. Yes, that's your dad. When souls, whatever soul we bring to earth, because we don't bring all of our soul here, because we couldn't. It's such a low vibrational reality. And I love earth. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. But it's such a low vibrational reality. The consciousness that we have would go a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs if it came here. So we only bring parts of ourselves. But despite all that, the energy that we have, which is the soul that's housed in these physical forms, which I like to call temples, is going to leave. When we're leaving our body, the energy leaves our auric field, our chakras, and then it moves off into the fourth dimension and then ultimately the fifth dimension, which is the heaven for our earth, the fifth dimension. But a lot of people in the dying process, because it can take weeks or months for some people to fully leave their body, and they may be in bed for a lot of those times, they may be unconscious for a lot of that time, they could have the majority of their energy outside of their body. And all of that was absolutely your father. Absolutely 100%. I just love, it just shows how much he loves all of you. That as he's leaving, he's affecting as many people that he can, who he knows will hear or pay attention or know that it's him, right? Like some of our family members are not going to do that. They're going to go, that was an earthquake, and they're going to spend time on the internet trying to find out where the earthquake was and when it started, and will not even for a second entertain the fact that it was a family member getting their attention to say, I love you, I'm okay, I love you all so much, I miss you already, I can't wait till we can hold each other again. And I'm not going anywhere, meaning your dad's going to keep coming back and bothering you guys because he loves you all so much. And he's also saying how much he loved his life and he loved his family. And he's just very grateful for his experience. And he was ready to go. I'm just so happy that so many of your family members are so open to this type of experience. And I'm sorry you're having to wake up at 4 a.m., but I'm really happy that you and your dad get to have a special moment together. So tomorrow, if you wake up at 4 a.m., go into the kitchen and make coffee for both of you. Even if you don't put coffee in the second cup, or you only put hot water in it or something like that, just talk to your dad. That's what he wants. He wants this relationship to continue, because our relationships are meant to continue. When people's energy leaves their body, we don't fall off the face of the earth. We go into a different reality, and our relationships can continue, and they can be more enriching. They can be incredibly vital and very helpful for everyone, because the person who's left their body is in a higher expansion of consciousness. So even little things that were problematic aren't there for most exchanges. And someone who was not happy in their body because it was failing or having difficulties or whatever, they're not feeling that anymore. It's like getting a great night of sleep and you wake up and your body feels like you're 18 and you just want to run around the block and talk to all your friends and tell your family how much you love them. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. I'm Miglena Stanley from Rock Hill, and I'm married to the most beautiful soul that I have ever met in my whole entire life. And he has told me that he is not from this earth. He has come here for a reason, and he needs to figure out what that reason is. This is not our home, and me and him are writing the most beautiful love story ever. But I need to know how I can help him on his mission. And if I can't help him, how can I help him find the people that can help him? He is being tore up between having to live a normal person life on this earth and the mission that he's being called for so strong to accomplish here. Please help me find some kind of answers and ways to help him. I promise that he is the most wonderful person that cares for so many people on this earth and for the entire human race. He wants for all of us. He wants goodness. His heart is pure and full of love and care for all of us.
Okay. I do like everything that you just said, by the way. First of all, for everyone who's even on Earth, this is not our home. Home is the other side or some other dimension. This is a temporary reality that we all experience. But there are some people who haven't spent a lot of time on Earth because there's so many, probably billions of realities that we could exist in. So some of them have not ventured to Earth, although Earth is wildly popular right now. I mean, 8 billion human souls, including, whatever animal life and plant life that we have, oceans and one cell organisms. We have a lot of life on Earth. I mean, it's the most populated it's ever been. So it's popular. It's a popular destination. So I'm not surprised that he feels like this isn't his home. He may not have ventured here very often. But your spouse can be dramatic. He tends to like drama, and drama is a low frequency and a low vibration. One's calling, one's magnificence, which everyone has something and multiple things that they're meant to do in their life. Like for me, being a parent was definitely something I wanted to experience. I begged my husband when we got married, my ex-husband, to have kids. I mean, I was 20 when we got married. He was 22. Neither one of us had graduated from college yet. And he said, "Don't you think I should finish college?" I'm like, okay. Before he even went into his last year of college, I made him sign a contract that we were going to have kids. I mean, I just couldn't stop that urge, that feeling to have children. It was so amazing. He signed it, although he made a little joke. He wrote in Farsi, Shabako J, which means I'm just kidding, which I knew he was doing. He can be funny. But I even got pregnant before even his last year of school began. So we already had a child before he graduated from college, and I was pregnant with our second child as we were driving back to Washington State. So we all feel this urge. A lot of people tend to ignore it or poo-hoo it or put it to the side. We all have multiple things that we desire to accomplish. And yes, everybody has something that they're meant to bring to the world that can help humanity. But it's only discovered through one's own personal joy. So when people start to say, "Oh, I want to do this to help humanity," that doesn't work very well when it comes to manifesting, because our gifts, our abilities, the magnificence within it is something that's going to bring us incredible joy, personal joy first and foremost. And it's through that joy that we help humanity. Even the people who made sticky notes, which have helped humanity enormously, had a lot of fun creating those. And they made a tremendous amount of money when they created those as well. So you have to do it first and foremost for yourself. And your husband is dramatic. He's a very drama-based individual. That needs to go away. And he needs to start feeling joy and recognizing it personally for him, not how to save the human race. There's actually nothing wrong with the human race. Earth was created to be a planet of conflict and of contraction. This is why so many souls come here, because they've tried in non-physical realities to change their perceptions, and they haven't been able to change them, because when you're in a non-physical reality, there's not as much motivation. You don't need food. You don't need transportation. You don't need a home. You don't need to procreate. You don't need a job. You don't have to pay taxes. It's a very different reality. So there's not as much persuasion, if you will, to develop certain things about yourself or to change your perception. When you come to Earth, there's a lot more offerings to want us to have different experiences, but it comes from personal joy. And it's through that joy and that self-discovery of who we are that's how we help the human race that doesn't really need help. But if you're in your joy, then it will be really, really positive and effective for all beings throughout all the universes. I hope that's helpful. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Maria and I'm calling from Texas. And I have a question. Can you perform a body scan on me and tell me why I feel the way that I do? Is it health related or is it just emotional? And how can I heal or stop feeling like this? Any insight is truly appreciated. Thank you.
Hi, Maria. Of course, it would have been nice if you told me what you were feeling. You know, to me, you just feel off. You feel anxious. Anxiety and depression, 98% of the time, is created through overthinking and analyzing from the logical mind. So the mind was not made to work, to analyze or process information, period. It was made for humanity only. So like when we leave Earth, we don't need a brain. It's unnecessary because we're just going to be in pure intuitive energy when you're in a non-physical reality, because you don't need anything logical to help you. You don't need transportation. Like I said before, you don't need food. You don't need anything to survive. You know, your energy is coexisting, and your energy is so huge and so profound, you can feel everything. So you have the answers to everything just like that. It's really quite amazing. So what you're feeling, I don't think it's physical, but I love it when people get checkups. I think that's a good thing to do regularly, and every couple years at least, go get a checkup. I think this is from overthinking, analyzing, and processing, which that creates stress in the body. That creates anxiety in the physical form. And then that could affect us physically, like in terms of raising our cortisol levels, or, you know, having some havoc with our hormones or things of that nature. So if you could learn to stop thinking, and I know that seems like a tall order, it's really what all of humanity is collectively, but not very consciously, working on right now. You could start this by simply meditating a couple times a day to white noise, because you do need something to entertain your brain. You do not know how to let go of your head as of yet. So for maybe 15 minutes in the morning and the evening, you turn on some white noise or brown noise, and you just close your eyes and focus on that, so we can get your body to calm down and get your autonomic system to move in a different frequency and vibration. That way you have been running it, which is mostly through anxiety with a little bit of depression, is how I feel. I hope it's helpful. Thank you.
Hi, Marie. My name is Katie Linden. I'm outside of Charlotte, North Carolina area, and I found you on Next Level Soul, and I've been enjoying all your podcasts and following you. I love your positivity. Funny enough, I've worked with a very gifted energy worker for over 10 years, and you guys remind me a lot of each other. So I just really appreciate you. And my question is more about what you might see in terms of me and my mother with her end of life. I heard another podcast recently where you told a gentleman about his mom, and the happier she could be, the quicker she would leave. And we're kind of just surprised my mom is still here with her health issues. She has 24/7 care. I'm far away, so I have to fly in a lot, and it's a bit hard. I have a young child, and my business is here. So it's just, I'm wondering if you see a timeline with her, and I am working on releasing my expectations and trusting in the divine timing of it all. And it just doesn't matter. And the human part of me finds that a little challenging. And I just wondered if you saw, because my gut was that she was going to go, and now she's still here. And of course, for whatever she needs to do in her soul, but I think she's hanging on out of fear, and there's not a lot of faith or belief in things, and I don't know if I'm rambling, so I'm going to stop. But if you see anything around that, I would love the information and what you see. Thank you for all you do. Bye.
Of course, Katie, thank you. Here's what I think about your mom, and she might be gone by now, but I don't think she is actually. First of all, she's very stubborn. So stubborn people don't leave their body quickly. Number one, they don't know how to let go. And there has to be some sort of letting go to have the chakras spin out of the body. And then the aura can detach and everything can go together. But we don't really want to rush your mother's transition. Your mother, from my perspective, has not done a lot of inner work in this lifetime. And she's now doing it right now on her deathbed. So some people do their inner work as they're dying, especially if they have a long death period. Some people do their inner work when they cross over. They kind of save everything in like these energetic folders and kind of go through everything almost like a book or a diary and start to do their inner work on the other side. Because we have free will. We can do it any way we want. Then there's others like myself, and I'm sure you and most people who listen to this podcast, we do our inner work while we're in our bodies, which can be interesting in its own, perspective. So I wouldn't rush it. That also means you don't have to fly there all the time. Why don't you do this? And of course, you get to do whatever you want. If she's still here, why don't you just decide that you'll go when you feel inspired to go? And the next time you go, if you haven't already, have these final conversations. Tell her how much you love her. Or do it over the phone. You don't have to always get on a plane and go there. It's not necessary, in my opinion. I think your mom likes sitting in the bed and kind of hanging out and chilling with everyone and doing her inner work. So try to do what feels comfortable and best for you. Remember that true family members are people that we have felt and feel loved, adored, and cherished by. So even when we have DNA people in our life and we don't feel that way, they are not our family members. And I don't know if I'm saying this about your mom or someone else in your life, but family, because the universe doesn't care about DNA. It's not important. It's just the way that energy gets to Earth so that a soul can have an experience. So true family members are the people that you feel loved and adored and cherished by. That's family, and they may not be related to you at all. I hope that's helpful.
Hello, hi Marie. Thank you so much for offering all that you're offering. It's really, really amazing. I'm not sure if you could just pick up anything that you sense right now, but I have a question around prosperity and really what really blocks me around having bigger space. And a bigger place where I live is very actually cluttered, and I have very little room, very little space, and it's around also prosperity, money, and I just really feel like I just don't allow myself to have more money. There is some sort of could be, I don't know, some ancestral blocks around having fears around having more money, and I wonder what could you suggest? What message basically is coming to you? And I also booked a session with you, but it's for 2026, so it's such a long time. So I wonder if you could help. Thank you so much, and lots of love to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Preem. So it's not ancestral. Actually, every soul is responsible for their own inner work. So what I'm about to say is probably unpopular in some spiritual circles, but a soul is not responsible for their ancestors' issues. Each person has to heal their own issues. And we don't always reincarnate in the same groups. Like souls have free will. They can do whatever they want. So if someone's had a lifetime with someone and if they weren't having fun, that one of the souls could just go off to some other reality and have a completely different experience. We never have to finish anything with one soul. There's too many people that have similar patterns. Too many souls that have similar misperceptions about themselves. And so there's plenty of opportunities to work things out with others. So doing ancestral work, I think, isn't necessary, but that's just what I believe. This, from my perspective, you're not great at receiving. So, learning to receive, which I talk a lot on this podcast. So you've probably heard about that as well. But changing your relationship with wealth, your energy needs to be highly elevated every single time you connect with wealth. So that means before you write a check, before you go to the mailbox, before you put your password into your computer, before you touch your wallet, your purse, anytime you're about to engage with wealth, open up an envelope that's about financial mail, you have to change your energy first. And you have to do it every single time for the rest of your life. So let's say you're walking to the post office, your post office box. Before you touch it, before you get the key out of your purse, if it's key locked, you have to think of something that makes you really, really happy. Like probably the happiest something that just makes you happy. It could be color, it could be light, it could be the sound of frogs. I love subatomic particles, so that's what I think about is electrons and protons. And then when you put the key in the box, you're going to think about it again. As you pull out the mail, you're going to think about it again. As you write a check, as you transfer funds, just every single interaction, your energy needs to be in a positive vibration as you're connecting with wealth. That will change your relationship with wealth, and that will allow the flow of wealth to come in. And this is a forever exercise. You do it for the whole time that you're on earth. And then you'll just attract all kinds of beautiful opportunities and wealth, abundance all around you. Okay.
Hello, I'm Arusha Butler from Burley, Idaho. And I'm wondering, because I feel like I've been taken away from friend groups throughout my life or whatever, and I have some sort of like abandonment wound, and I'm just wondering how I can change my energy so that I have better connections and relationships to people and that I can see them more often than I do. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're going to have to fall in love with yourself. You're going to have to love, 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 love yourself, because the one person who can never abandon you is you. So if you make a tight bond, a loving bond, a kind bond, a compassionate bond, a joyful bond with you, then no one can abandon you. That has to come first and foremost before we create any type of relationship. I don't think there's anything wrong with changing friend groups. I hope I hope I don't have any more changes in the future other than additions. I love the friend group I have right now, but I've changed my friend group a lot over the years because as I kept changing, I sometimes felt stifled in the friend group I was in. It was just challenging for me. So I would change friend groups so I could keep growing and expanding my consciousness and have different experiences. So there's nothing wrong with changing one's friend group at all. But I agree with you that there's been, many past lives with betrayal. And so you don't trust. And then you end up attracting people you can't trust. It's just how the manifesting genie works is if we stay in the vibration of things that we don't want, we will continue to attract those frequencies in different ways and different remedies, different recipes, but it'll be the similar. But if you can fall in love with yourself, you will attract people who can deeply love you and cherish you, and you will allow them to. Because sometimes when we have betrayal issues, we don't trust people. And even if we attract someone who's good and kind, we may not be comfortable with their love. So you have to fall in love with you every day. Every day, we have to love ourselves. Every single day, multiple times a day. I hope that's helpful. And one more.
Hello, Marie. I'm calling from Tampa, Florida. I hope you're doing well. I'm so happy to be speaking to you. I just had one question. Hopefully, just by hearing my voice or using your gifts, you can see a lot of what's going on. But I have many, many questions, but I'm just gonna try to keep it short. I am thinking about leaving the States to go back to my overseas, where I lived most of my life with my two boys, and my husband will be staying in the States, and I will be going with my mom and my two boys. I just want to know if you can see anything, or spirit guides are saying anything about whether I should go or stay. I'm just not sure what the right move is. Um, there's so many things to take into consideration. Just any guidance as to whether I should go or stay. Thank you very much for everything you do. Many blessings to you, and have a great day.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, that's a lot to take into, take into consideration before you make a big decision like that. I kind of feel like that you're being persuaded to move, that this wasn't your original idea, and it's kind of a way for you to escape something that's uncomfortable for you. I think it would be better to have a conversation, maybe with lawyers first, about the ramifications of doing that or what's in your best interest. And to really make this decision on your own versus whatever persuasion you're getting from other people around you. I think that there's a lot of family here too, or people here that are good for you and your kids. So I kind of feel like you want to sneak out. You want to sneak out, go in the middle of the night. And I would love it if it wasn't done in that way. And it doesn't mean, if there is something very, very challenging in your relationship, it doesn't mean you have to have that conversation with a challenging person if there's worry about that. But to actually get some legal advice would be best. And to look at all of your options, every single one of them. Like, this is not your only option. This is not your only option. And because I think if you go, you're going to come back. So I think will happen. So maybe think of it as a sabbatical. If you have a conversation with everyone and it's decided that you're going to go, think about going as a sabbatical for a couple years, maybe no more than 5 years, because I think you're going to come back. So keep that in mind and maybe talk to a lawyer, just a consult. You don't have to hire a lawyer, just going to go in for a consultation and see what they have to say about everything, give them all the information, and then make some decisions from that perception, from that awareness, from that consciousness. That's what I recommend. Okay, thank you. And thank you everyone for listening to this podcast. I hope that your Jupiter is shining beautifully on your chart and Uranus is surprising you in magical, happy ways, because that's what surprise means. And I wish you all joyful blessings. Bye-bye for now.